Science review, Thursday, April 2nd, and we are going to start reviewing for a test probably Tuesday next week. So I have attached in your assignment where the video link and everything is a review sheet. Now, I realize some of you don't have the ability to print things off, so you may have to have mom take a picture of it with her phone and look at it on her phone to study, or copying it down. Pull it up on the computer and copy it down. That's a great way to review and to get it in your head. I learn better when I'm writing things down. Just whatever works for y'all. We're kind of limited on how I get information to you in order for you to be able to print that off. So that's a bit of a challenge, but we're all just going to do our very best. All right, so to begin with, what makes a fish a fish? Two things. Scales? Nah. Lays eggs? Meh. How about has gills? Yes! Ding, ding, ding. Has gills. And something else. Gills, and you're drawing a picture of it today. Fins. Yes. That reminds me, let me kind of give you a heads up on your picture, your fish picture with the fins. You can have mom write down all the names of the fins, all the different fins on a piece of paper, and use that, make sure it's spelled correctly, and use that as your word bank. Go ahead and draw your fish, put your little fins on there, and then you're going to be the teacher. You're going to make a video of you labeling the fins. You can label it beforehand, but you just have to do it without looking at anything. Okay, that's part of the quiz, being able to label. And then I want you to be able to tell me what each of them are responsible for. So you're going to be the teacher. So make sure you're nice and loud. Isabel, make sure you're nice and loud so that I can hear you, or you'll have to do it over. Okay, and nice and clear. And make sure, because I'm still working on how to do this video thing, and sometimes you stand in front of what you're talking about and person watching doesn't know, can't tell. So always look at the camera and make sure that it's actually showing what you want it to show as you're teaching. Okay, so be good teachers tomorrow. All right, so those are the two things that make a fish a fish. Now we're going to talk about the fins, which you can have mom write that down on a piece of paper, or you can even do it. Just make sure it's spelled correctly. So we have the dorsal fin, and that is used to keep it from falling over. Keep from falling over. And it's also used as a defense. I'll give you extra points if you put two things for the dorsal fin. There's another fin that's used for keeping it from falling over. Do y'all remember? Anal. It's the same thing. So it'll have the same. So as you're talking, you can just do just like I did. You can point to the dorsal fin, says it keeps it from falling over, and then point to the anal fin and say, and this also keeps it from falling over. Okay? And then you have your pectoral and your pelvic, which they both do the same thing also. They allow the fish to go in the direction it wants to. I'm just going to put fish direction up here. Okay, you don't have to write it out, you can just point to it and tell me. Both of them allow the fish to go in the direction it wants. Then you have the caudal. It is at the back, and that pushes it forward through the water. Never realized it took so much in keeping a fish upright, moving side to side and going forward in the water, did you? It's pretty interesting. All right, so the next thing, let me erase this, get it in the way. Shapes of a fish. There is the fusiform. And that's rounded on both ends, and it's used for speed. Okay, and then you have the eel-like, which it looks like a ribbon, and it allows hide in crevices or caves, or what did I put on here? hiding in cracks of the rock so that it can jump out and get its prey. Okay? Depressed. We always think of depressed as someone who's not happy or feeling good and they're sad. But they are flat. They just kind of lay flat on the surface of on the bottom of the ocean. And what I'm thinking of is the flounder, and it has 2 eyes on one side. It'd be really cool to, I think there was a video on Facebook that I put out that showed a flounder. Its eyes are funny looking. And then you have compressed. Compressed is what we're normally seeing with our fish. They are thin. So when they're going away from you, they kind of just disappear. So that's easy for them to hide. And 1 eye on each side. Which helps them if they see a predator coming and they see a cave with the other eye, they can run for the cave. Okay, so those are your 4 shapes that you need to be familiar with. Also know, like, fusiform would be your shark, eel-like be an eel, depressed would be your flounder, compressed would be like your angelfish. All right. Your defenses of a fish, you have camouflage, they blend in with their surrounding, just like camouflage pants that you see. Let's see if Miss Harrison can spell that right. Camouflage, blend in. And then we have counter shading, that's like your stingray. And the top of it will be dark, so it blends in with the darker water underneath. 2 colors or more. And then, like, if you would be looking up at, if you were a predator looking up at the stingray, it would be lighter underneath so that it blends in with the sunlight coming through. Then you have advertising us with bright colors like the lionfish. Says, hey, I've got poisonous quills and I've got really sharp spines, something like that. And then you have schools of fish. And I saw a video today, maybe it was yesterday. I think I posted it on Facebook with just these huge, massive schools of fish. And then it shows how the predators, they figure out where they're at and they have a feast. But it still is confusing to them because these little fish are just shooting everywhere trying to get away from it. And then the stages of life for a fish. I want you to be able to put those in order. So egg, larval, post-larval, juvenile, adult. Okay, so I'll probably have like a multiple choice with them all in different arrangements. And I want you to pick the one that's correctly in the right order. So egg be your first, larval, post means after, so it comes after, so that should help you know that post comes after larval, because post means after, so it comes after larval. Juvenile, remember you have teenagers before you have adults, they're just littler adults, yeah, and then adults. Okay, so be able to say those in order. And there's your review. So remember, we're to be fishers of men. What are you going to use as your net to catch men for Jesus? Are you going to use the love of Christ, the light of Christ, kindness, the fruit of the Spirit? You want to draw and gather those for Christ and lead them to his kingdom. So we're going to be fishers of men. All right, I hope y'all have an excellent afternoon, because I think most of you are probably doing science in the afternoon. Review, and make some beautiful pictures for me and do a really good job of teaching. Okay, thanks.